It's Coffee Talk on FM 94.7 and AM 1450 KBKW. And time now for the Insider Report with Everett Hughes. Good morning, Everett.
Good morning, Doug.
Now, you're a lot like the History Channel, sort of.
Really?
Because they have the mini-series, The Bible.
Yes.
And you have the mini-series on the Insider Report, the IRS.
Schedule A.
Schedule A.
And we're going to have another part of the mini-series.
Wow.
And like we mentioned last week, there's two kinds of miscellaneous itemization worksheets. There's two of them. Subject to the 2% limitation. They call it the 2% floor, which means when you add up all of these miscellaneous deductions, now you have to subtract 2% of your adjusted gross income, just like we have to on the itemized deductions at the top. For the medical expenses, we have to reduce those by 7.5%, but miscellaneous deductions here. And then there's certain miscellaneous deductions that are not subject to the 2% limitation. And we might want to talk about those because we've never talked about it before.
Sure.
So now,
I'm ready.
Unemployed employee business expenses subject to the 2% limitation. So employee business expenses are all subject to that limitation, and we covered that in the 2106. So we won't need to go over that again. But now, excluded expenses from Form 2555, which is the form you file when you've been overseas working for a foreign entity, and it's up to 85 grand is not taxable income in the United States. And then we have some qualified educator expenses subject to the 2% floor. Union and professional dues subject to the 2% floor. All of your professional subscriptions subject to the 2% floor. Uniforms and protective clothing. Now, I don't know that you'd need any work in there for KBKW, protective clothing, but you might. And
Seahawk helmets.
And you know what else?
What?
Job search costs. Now, that's something that nobody says much about much, but you can deduct the cost that you put out looking for a new job. You can deduct the mileage, the resume writing, whoever you had, professional fees you might have had to hire somebody to assist you, and all kinds of stuff. Job search costs. Now, all of those things are subject to the 2% floor. And we've got some other things that are.
Okay.
Casualty theft, loss of property, investment expense related to interest and dividend income. You can deduct that on the Schedule A. Deductions related to portfolio income. Investment counsel and advisory fees you can deduct. Certain attorney and accounting fees. Now, you have to do a little more research on that because you've got to look at the list. Safe deposit box rental fees. IRS custodial fees, losses incurred from total distribution of traditional IRAs, and loss incurred from total distribution of a Roth IRA. In other words, if you lose the money you invested, you can deduct it on a Schedule A subject to the 2% floor. But now, the other miscellaneous deductions that are not subject to the 2% floor, which means you get them dollar for dollar, Doug.
Okay.
Federal estate tax paid. Now, impairment-related work expenses. In other words, you have an impairment and you have expenses at your job, kind of like in my case. If I was an employee and had to spend a bunch of money to be able to continue working due to my impairment, those would be deductible dollar for dollar.
Okay.
Not as medical expenses, but as impairment-related work expenses. And that's a good one because some people want to take them as medical expenses, but not subject to the 2% floor. They're impairment-related work expenses.
So this is kind of a better deal. We're almost out of time. So if people want more information on this, they can just call you at 533-4131 and then go to the website. And what's next week's subject going to be?
I'll let you know next week.
Ooh, it's a secret.
It's a secret.
Yes.
It's a secret because I just haven't glommed on to something that I think would be relevant.
But we'll find out next time we visit you on the Insider Report.
You will, and it'll be next month.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It will be next month.
Wow.
It will be next